we've got people that will come as far away as Cedarburg and Brookfield because they've always come to this fish fry.
Friday night is, I think everyone's so happy to be out and maybe away from their homes that there's an energy in the air that really stirs things up.
If you're not here by 4:30, you're probably going to wait for a couple hours to get a table. That bar there gets about 3 deep with people.
They know if they come in around 5:30, there's going to be a wait. They joke with me and say, well, that sounds like about 3 old fashions or 2 old fashions.
Those plate preppers in the kitchen, they're just waiting there. They're like chomping at the bit. Give me the fish, give me the fish.
Not done yet.
We used to have bus loads come from Illinois. We found out in their cookbook they got our recipe. So I guess that's why we don't see them anymore.
Well, you know, I thought like, man, like I'm gonna have to like live in Wisconsin forever now, or you know, I mean, like which I love eating here. Don't get me wrong.
A lot of people told me fish on a pizza will never work, and I decided to prove them wrong.
I'm like, we'll do monster fry, you know, and then we'll attract all the college kids coming off of North Avenue. But no one's ever bought into that idea. But I think we could make a lot of money.
Besides what's on the menu, we have grilled salmon tonight. We also have a pork ribeye.
We're here for fish fry.
It's Friday night and we're here for a fish fry. Just follow the signs. In Wisconsin, Friday fish fry can be found just about everywhere. The peak season for a fish fry is during the 40 days of Lent, when there are even more choices for a delicious fish dinner, especially at Catholic churches and other nonprofits. A good place to start is in a church basement on the east side of Milwaukee. Catholic East Elementary School, part of Saints Peter and Paul Parish, located just off North and Oakland Avenues, serves a Friday fish fry in a lively setting only 6 times during Lent.
I'm Sarah Parlier at Catholic East Elementary School. This was our 35th year as the Catholic East Elementary Fish Fry. But prior to that, the parish, Saints Peter and Paul Parish, ran the same fish fry. And when our schools all began to merge and join together, that fish fry just got absorbed by what was then Catholic East Elementary. So the fish fry is even older than the 35 years we celebrated. The recipe we use for our fish fry is decades old. Comes from the 5 and 10 tap, which I don't even think is open anymore, down if you go along Old Water Street there. The recipe is a combination of eggs, water, and evaporated milk. We come in the night before and we soak the cod in that milk bath overnight. The next day then, half of that is put into our become our baked fish, and the other milked fish is breaded in flour and fried, and that's it. When patrons come, they have the choice on the menu of having either fried or baked cod. Sometimes they'll ask, oh, do you have shrimp or other things? And we're like, no, we just do cod. I mess with what we're really good at. And their sides then are baked potatoes, which we cook right then and there, beautiful Idaho bakers. And then the French fries are the other option, crinkle cut. And then we offer them coleslaw, applesauce, and then you have sides of your ketchup and your tartar sauce and all that good stuff. At the Catholic East Fish Fry, we don't have a buffet. We actually have waitstaff that come and take your orders. You're served on fine china. Well, it's maybe not that fine, but it still is actual real dinner stoneware plates, real forks and knives, real cups and saucers. So the waiters are all parents of children at our school, And then their faithful assistants are our middle school workers, who really are 5th through 8th grade students, really become the face of our school for anyone who comes in.
Would you like any coffee or water? Not yet.
They're rather impressive in how well they will serve coffee and desserts and really just take care of our patrons that are coming. And that's probably one of the comments I hear most, is how incredible the service is. We offer the opportunity for any 5th through 8th grade scholar to volunteer for the fish fry. And the kids are really eager. I actually have to cut children from serving because all of them would do it every week if they could. And then really I turn everything over to a fellow parent, Yvonne, who then really manages them.
We are a team. We are one big team. Do you understand? Yeah! Great. Now go wash your hands, everybody.
So my job is just to keep the kids organized and coordinated throughout the evening, making sure they're working their right sections and that people are being serviced, and this table stays somewhat organized and clean.
We've been coming here for about 5 or 6 years, ever since my kids started coming to school here. And I love the fish fry. I like the church basement feel to it, you know, more than going to a restaurant or something like that. The community feel is there. The kids are great, helping out. So I've started volunteering just because I really enjoy it.
Whenever I'm trying to encourage parents to volunteer, I always make sure they understand it's really not a fundraiser, it's really a lot of fun. The kitchen is a rockin' place, there's music pumping in there, but you fall into a nice rhythm of really kind of knowing your job and your role in making this well-oiled machine work. And I think people really come to appreciate and love that.
Well, I've been to serve call once, but this is tops in my opinion. This is very good.
High quality fish, the food's really good and the sides and stuff like that. Desserts are homemade, but you get all this variety of desserts available to you. Yeah, it's really nice.
We go through about 250 pounds of fish at minimum each week. We have 3 fryers. That's all we have to produce that food. That's the one good thing. Patrons may have to come and they may have to wait a little bit, like if they're not coming till after 5:30, but their food's going to be hot because it's just been cooked. So I mean, there are people passing lots and lots and lots of other places where you can get a great fish fry, but they make this their Lenten fish fry, which is incredible because then you see these people that this is the only time I see them, is when they come to this fish fry.
An all-you-can-eat fish fry isn't as common as it used to be, but on Fridays during Lent, the Polish Center of Wisconsin, located in suburban Franklin, keeps that tradition going for members and guests.
We've had this fish fry going on for a number of years right now. It's about at least 7 years. It's a voluntary run-based fish fry.
We do 750 pounds of fried fish a week.
Our fish fries actually start off on Thursday morning. We have a team of retired gentlemen come in, between 5 and 6 people, to start hand breading our fish. And again, we use a 3-ounce cod loin. It's floured, egg washed, and hand breaded breadcrumbs. And that's it, keeping it simple. We generally go through about 24,000 pieces of fish through the course of the 7-week fish fry.
We try to change our oil at the Polish Center every week, or we do every week because we want to have a nice, consistent, good tasting product. Because if you don't change your oil, that's the key to the fish fry. Oil makes the difference.
A unique twist to our fish fry is, of course, we put the Polish flair to it. We serve a pierogi with it.
We're doing a potato cheese today. And we put a little bit of canola oil on it. And then we take them and we put them in the steamer. These are hot in 20 minutes. And then we serve them.
16,800 pierogi are served through the course of the 7 weeks fish fry. So it's a very popular item. Another thing that makes our fish fries unique, it's a buffet, it's all you can care to eat. We not only serve our fish baked or breaded, we also have French fries, and we have 2 types of coleslaw. We have a creamy coleslaw, and we have a sweet and sour. And then we have our desserts available. Some are homemade. We have a nice Polish bar that we offer Polish beers and vodkas, but we also have entertainment. Jimmy Lockheed plays his famous accordion throughout the fish fry, volunteers for it, so it's a very nice feature for our dining guests. Our process in regards to seating arrangements is generally you walk in, you pay for your meal, and you go and go to the hostess station, and they make arrangements to have you seated. You may be seating with other fellow members, other fellow guests, or sometimes if it's a large enough party, you get your table yourself. But generally, we try to control the waiting times, but it's all based upon how many seating turns we do. So there might be times where you do have a little bit of limited wait. Generally, sometimes it's maybe 25 to 30 minutes. While you're here, you can also enjoy some of our other features. We have our gift shop, which is run by Polanki. And then also you can also visit the library, which will be open as well during fish fries. This building is about 16 years old currently right now. And it's actually funded by Polish Fest, which was started in 1982. It's based on a Polish-style manor house. Our founding fathers actually researched the area, and it actually came up with a good location here. The Archdiocese helped us out with the purchase of the land, and then the excavation started in the year 2000, and the building was built. So you'll see a lot of Polish Fest items here, and we're proud to have our Little Miss Polish Fest or Junior Miss Polish Fest representing the organization through the fish fry, and they'll be handing out brochures, information, and helping people seat. Everybody asks me, why don't you run the Polish Center Fish Fry every month? And again, going back to the fact that it is volunteer-based, we need about 50 to 60 volunteers per Friday fish fry. We appreciate the 7 weeks, and that's about it. And again, just to keep our costs controlled and keep this a good product, we really just want to limit it to the Lenten season.
While an all-you-can-eat fish fry might be hard to find, an all-you-can-eat smelt fry can be even more difficult. Aficionados of the tiny fish head to Port Washington to dive in at the American Legion's annual smelt fry in late April.
This all started at the American Legion Post 82 66 years ago, and it was 3 guys went down smelting and came back and started frying them and serving them to the people, and it grew into what it is today.
Very good, very good. We always have our smelt fry the weekend after Easter. I don't know if the smelt run has anything to do with when we have the smelt fry. It may have years ago, when it started. Of course, back in those days, people from the Legion would go out and get the smelt from the lake.
If you get a half a 5-gallon bucket full, you're lucky. We used to get a pickup truck full back in the 50s.
Unfortunately, there's not much smelt left here around this area. We get it from a place in Two Rivers, but they actually get the smelt out of Lake Superior. They go down like 200 feet or some odd thing, and they get it out of Lake Superior. When we get them, they're cleaned and the heads are off them, but we have the tails. Eat the tail.
One for you. All right.
We bread them ourselves. We have our own breading.
This is where the magic happens.
Then we deep fry them.
You'll get more fish on the tray. All right, smelt coming through. Smelt's coming through.
We'll average selling about 1,100, 1,200 meals in the 2 days.
I'm fine. You're fine? Okay.
Thank you.
What do you got? A little Tabasco. Thank you.
What else you got?
Some coleslaw, some of these little groupers here.
This has gotten to be such a big thing. I mean, it really has been. Because we'll get people from, at least 150, 200 miles away.
You tell us where you're from.
Munster, Indiana.
How long does it take you to get up here?
A little over 2 hours.
First time having smelt.
First time?
Drove from Milwaukee up here to have the smelt. We'll try it on right now. Here we go.
They told us they had shrimp.
Very good. Very, very good. Highly recommend it.
watching me eat them.
So, I heard you say smelt. Is it smelt or smelt?
Smelt. Smelt.
If you read it like it's spelt, it's smelt. And I'm sorry, I still call it smelt. But some of the traditional people, they still call it smelt. I don't know why. Well, it's all you can eat smelt. We have French fries. It's all you can eat everything, really. We have French fries. We also have coleslaw. We make our own coleslaw. We serve white or rye bread. And we offer a beer or a soda.
That's the first one of the little ones.
All our staff is members of the Legion, and we donate our time. It's a fundraiser for us. Wisconsin has a lot of their own little quirks, fish fries, certain alcohols, old fashions, stuff. That's kind of a Wisconsin thing. Smelts the same way.
On 54th and Forest Home Avenue, we saw an amazing fish fry sign at P. DiMarini's Pizza, and we stopped to ask owner Scott Churchill about his sign and fish fry.
Like I say, on a good Friday, especially during Lent and everything, we go through about 35 pounds. 35 to 45 pounds of fish, which is a lot for a small pizza place.
We wondered if customers have asked Scott to make a fish fry pizza.
We've had people ask that. Yeah, and it's no, you won't fit. Yeah, because our oven is a convection oven, so it's 536 degrees, so it's blowing hot air around it. I think it would just dry out the fish. I think it'd be unedible.
While we weren't totally serious, it turns out that since then, we heard that Ian's makes a fish fry pizza on Fridays during Lent. So we paid a visit to their State Street location in Madison to see what it was like.
Fish fries are really big in Wisconsin, and I thought it'd be a great idea. It goes along with kind of our comfort foodie ideas to make a fish fry pizza. A lot of people told me fish on a pizza will never work, and I decided to prove them wrong. Lots of people are just intrigued. It's something different they've never seen before. After they tried it, everybody loved it. I would say we probably sell out of each store around 50 or so slices a week. It's a one-day special on Fridays during Lent. All right, so this is the start of our fish fry pizza. We've already got the tartar sauce down, and we've got mozzarella cheese on it. Next, he's going to top it with some fried tilapia, beer batter. And next, he's going to go ahead and add some French fries. We're going to go ahead and pop it in the oven. Got it? Then all we need to do to finish this off is put some coleslaw on top.
I think the main thing you taste, like I say, when you take your first bite, if you can get everything in there, you kind of get that sensation of taking everything from your fish fry and putting it in your mouth all at once. You get the bread, and the tartar sauce stands out, the coleslaw is really prevalent. You do get a little bit of the breading from the fish taste. The French fries kind of blend into the background, but overall it's a surprisingly good flavor for having all those different unique textures and tastes all at once. So, yeah, I could eat a few slices of this.
That was Mike, a Madison fish fry blogger that we'll meet later on. Our next destination is Van Dyne, Wisconsin, on the west side of Lake Winnebago, to meet with a Milwaukee fish fry blogger, Caleb Westfall, who's currently documenting the number of consecutive fish fries he's been to since 2013.
I guess you could call me a Friday fish fry addict, and I just kind of stumbled upon it. Basically, when I moved to Milwaukee from Fond du Lac, I started going more and more. And then after about a year, I realized I was going every week. So I figured, well, I might as well just keep going with this, and started keeping track of where I was going. And I kind of thought about it, and I thought, well, Milwaukee probably has more Friday night fish fries than any place in the world. I mean, Wisconsin is known for Friday night fish fries, and here's the biggest city in that state. So there's so many varieties and places to check out. For sure, I know I've gone to 178 consecutive Friday night fish fries. 2014 is when I started keeping track of when I started going to them, but in 2013, I might have missed 3. I went to see Bob Dylan in Illinois on a Friday, and I think it was July of sometime in 2013. I don't think I got one that day. I was a little disappointed. I think I do it not only just for the fish, but I'm kind of a traditionalist, and I think I enjoy the tradition of Wisconsin, and I enjoy traditions of all type of things, but this is kind of where I'm at and my background, so I like to embrace it. We're at Wendt's in the Lake, and this is on Lake Winnebago on Highway 45, just north of Fond du Lac, south of Oshkosh. This is where I go for perch, specifically. It's my favorite place to get perch in state or anywhere. I want to say probably the first time I came here was probably 25 years ago. I'm 31 now. As a kid, I went to some places. I went to a place called the Colony and a place called the Freight House in Fond du Lac. And my parents usually, and my grandparents always went to a place called Kinker's around here, and that place closed down, so they started coming to Wendt's. So that's kind of when I started coming here.
Regarding the history of Wendt's, we've been here 55 years, and we started in 1962. Cynthia and Fritz Wendt actually are the people who started this business. They had a 6-seat bar here, and it was added on to maybe a year after they started Wendt's, and then Mike Wendt and myself took over the business in 1978, and we added on the dining room over there that you see in 1990. At Wendt's, we serve different kinds of fish. We call it our huge haddock, and we sell lots and lots of that. But perch is what we're known for. During the week, maybe 50 to 100 pounds a day we serve of the perch. So obviously perch is our #1 item on our menu.
Well, this is always the best perch I have anywhere. I haven't found anything better. Yeah, it's a light breading, it's all butterflied, good portions. Yeah, it's my favorite perch.
As far as being able to get the quantities of perch that we have in the past, over the last, I'm going to say 10 years, it has slowed down quite a bit. It has been a little scary since perch is what we're known for, but that's why we introduced a lot of our other fish items and our other menu items. So far, we're hanging in there and we're getting all we need from Canada Lakes, and hopefully it'll stay that way until I retire. In 1993, I became the sole owner of Wendt's on the Lake. As my children grew, they began to help me in the restaurant. My son is in charge of the bar, and my daughter is waitress and cook. They've really been really helpful in making Wendt's what it is today. We're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and we couldn't do it without the community and the surrounding communities.
My great-grandma, she's 96, and she wants to come here for her 97th birthday, which is in July, so we came here for her 94th, I know, a few years ago, so if God willing she makes that along, that's probably where we'll be, is here.
I do hope that my grandchildren will take over Wendt's and keep the Wendt name and the great food that we serve for 50 more years.
In addition to fish fry, a popular fish dinner in the northeast part of the state is baked whitefish. So we traveled to Menominee, Michigan to spend a day on a commercial fishing boat harvesting whitefish in the Bay of Green Bay. It was an early call the morning we were heading out on the bay.
Well, let's see, 4:16. We're heading north to Cedar River. Going fishing.
That's Bob Rouleau, owner of Rouleau Brothers Fishing. His 90-foot boat is docked in Cedar River, about 25 miles north of Menominee. The day before, Bob explained the history of the Robert Lewis.
That boat was built in 1985, mostly for the purpose of catching alewives for Purina and Quaker Oats. We had a potential 50 million pound order that year. We thought, we needed a bigger boat, so we built this one, and then of course we lost the order, and it's been fishing whitefish and smelt ever since then.
As we left the Cedar River towards the bay, Bob explained his family history of fishing.
Okay, what we're looking at is Chambers Island, Wisconsin. It's part of Door County, and as we were saying before, that my fishing ancestors moved to this island in approximately 1852 from Mackinac Island, and this area right here in the Bay of Green Bay, this family's been fishing here since then, which it's kind of like our farm field per se. Okay, we're following along the west shore of Michigan. Right now, not very deep, 82 feet of water. This is the boat right here. And we're heading down towards just south of Chambers Island, between Chambers Island and Green Island. This is, I'll blow it up here for you. This is Green Island right here. And we're going to be fishing probably in this area. This is where I've been catching a couple fish. Kind of a semi-collegiate pier where if the fish are up in the water, you can raise and lower the net. That's what's happened to the whitefish over the years. I don't know if you can see some of these mussels right here. The bottom is full of these now, zebra mussels. And what these did, they filtered the water out in the lakes and changed the whole food web. So now the fish, instead of laying right flat on the bottom, they're scattered all over the place, and they're very hard to catch. Yeah, some of these are whitefish, these bigger marks. So, what you have to be careful when you're trawling is that you don't go too slow, or you'll crash into the bottom and tear your gear up. Or if you go too fast, you can create a bucket effect where you actually push the fish out of the net. The water can't escape through the meshes, so it pushes the fish, gives them a free ride.
As the net is hauled back into the boat, a colony of gulls follow along, hoping to grab a snap. As the whitefish are released from the netting, Bob and his cousin Steve ice down the catch. Then measure and throw back the fish that are too small. Then Steve fillets the fish on board. And when he's finished, he lets the gulls eat the fish guts for lunch. Speaking of lunch, Bob picked out a plump whitefish and grilled it up for us. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Whitefish is still a pretty cheap fish, and it's a good fish. High omega-3, real good for you. With the wild catch part of it, it's starting to come up in value a little bit. Historically, whitefish was the most valuable fish in the lake. A perch they used to throw away. My grandparents used to feed them to the pigs. Perch would decompose real fast. So, with no ice or refrigeration, 100 years ago, they weren't much of a fish. And they used to take the whitefish and they would salt them, kegs and the herring, and they were always the most valuable fish. Perch were that's kind of a new thing. Like when the German Catholics and stuff came here for the fish fries, you know, that's when it kind of took off. And they were cheap. Yeah, getting back to the perch and the high value of a freshwater Great Lakes perch, and then the restaurants, you know, where they're trying to tell us a lot of times that you're eating a real freshwater perch. More often than not, you're probably eating a European Zander perch or Lake Victoria African perch. Your real perch and your walleye, real lake walleye, come out of Canadian Lake Erie. Yeah. There's a small commercial catch in the south end of the Bay of Green Bay here, but it's very, very small.
Since we were talking about real lake perch, Bob suggested heading down to Green Bay to visit Maricque's bar for their legendary perch fry. The Maricque family has been fishing the waters of Green Bay for several generations, and in 1932, William Maricque opened a bar and started serving perch caught by his brothers. Perch was plentiful then, and initially, an order of fried perch was free with the purchase of a beer. William's grandson Jamie started working as a bartender in Maricque's in 1977 when he was 15, and he's still behind the bar to this day. He has seen the changes in commercial fishing, which impacts what they serve at the bar. He can't rely on bay fish anymore, so 99% of the perch they serve is from the Canadian side of Lake Erie. The perch served is bone-in, or headless dressed as they call it, or as fillets without the tail or bones. Some say the bone-in tastes better. It's just a matter of doing a little bit of work before you dive in. The perch is served with a piece of buttered rye bread and a slice of raw onion, which Jamie calls a Belgian sandwich. Orders start with a single, 3 fish, which is 6 fillets, up to a triple, 9 fish. At Maricque's, you eat with your hands, as there are no forks or knives, just paper plates and napkins. Perch is on the menu along with bluegill and cod for our next fish fry in Milford, which is 18 miles east of Madison and just north of Lake Mills. At Crawford Junction, we met blogger Mike Seidel at fishfrymadison.com to get his story and a fish fry.
You know, I've been going out for fish my whole life, but I do go every Friday if I can, usually for lunch and dinner, so I usually try to get 2 in a week if I can. I kind of designed a website, I did all the graphic design, I built the database, started putting the information in, came up with kind of a scoring system for putting everything in there. I think to date we have about 1,200 fish fries on record, recorded, reviewed, you know, from roughly 400 different establishments, spanning the gamut of fish types from cod to perch, bluegill, haddock, walleye, catfish. Yeah, it's been fun, and you know, I really love going out for fish now more than I ever did. That's kind of the genesis of it. We never intended to be fish fry experts per se. We just wanted to get information out for people who were in our situation at one point and didn't know where to go, where you could find good fish.
Before ordering, we sat down with owners Tori Smith and Corey McGrath to talk about Crawford Junction.
Corey and I purchased Crawford Junction in the beginning of March in 2017. Previous owner had owned Crawford Junction since 2008. Before that, it had been called Olin Craigley's, and previously before that it was Leighton Supper Club. The building itself has been a bar since 1850. It's got quite an extensive history as a tavern and a restaurant. The name originated back in 2005, so this is the junction of Highway A, Highway Q, and the Crawfish River all come together here. So Crawfish Junction is what got stuck here. Milford's a little town out here outside of Lake Mills, on a population of maybe a couple hundred people. We've always had a spring festival here for the entire township.
We do Stinky Cheese Festival out here. It's the beginning of spring party. It's been going on in Milford for 25 years. Our fish fry starts with fresh product. This is our 4-ounce Pacific cod. This is our freshwater lake perch. This is our freshwater Canadian bluegill. A lot of the main fish items that we have here are prepared the same way. Okay, so it's going to be a dip bread, and it'll go into our house-made pre-dip, and then we move to our house-made dry batter, and that's just hand tossed and deep fried, and that's going to be for the cod, the perch, the bluegill.
You know, cod is, I call it, it's a cod canvas, right? The fish is mild, it's smooth, it doesn't have a lot of inherent flavor on its own, which is why you get a really good beer batter to really boost it up, and there are a lot of places that do that really well. Bluegill and perch have a little more flavor inherent to them, just being what they are. They have a little fishiness, there's a little sweetness to that. The way they do it here is really exceptional. They have a very special breading that they use. I'm not the guy who goes in the kitchen. I don't know what they're doing. It's a secret sauce kind of thing, KFC original, secret recipe kind of stuff. So
our real Canadian lake perch is very hard to get certain times of the year. My food vendor calls me and says, I've got X amount, and I usually end up taking all of it because it's something that we sell year round.
you wouldn't substitute?
Oh no, don't substitute quality, not at all.
Well, at Crawfish tonight, I'm going to have the bluegill and lake perch combo. Let's see. That's lake perch. And it's so good. Let's take a look at one of these bluegill. The breading works so well with that fishy flavor. That is a thing of beauty.
We've actually had interest outside of the States and people that have tried our fresh Canadian perch and bluegill from down in Texas, I believe, that had contacted us to see if we could trip some down to them because they enjoyed it so much when they visited us.
The perch thing is something I didn't grow up with. You didn't find a lot of perch in western Wisconsin. It's kind of the traditional Milwaukee fish fry, and the closer you get to Milwaukee, the more you see that, and the more perch you eat, I think the more you really appreciate it.
Our fish fry average on a Friday would be about $3.50, but I've seen it succeed that numerous times.
Balloon up to even $4.50 at Lent time. Yeah, it's a very well-known traditional fish fry. It's always been a solid piece of our operation here.
So I've been coming to Crawford Junction now for probably about 5 or 6 years, and the fish is so good here. There aren't very many places that will allow you to do a combo, which is another great thing about Crawford Junction. Usually it's a one and done. You can either get perch, you can get cod, but the ability to mix and match them is really good. In my experience, the half portion that you're going to mix and match is about the size of a normal portion at most places.
It's been over a decade of a process. I mean, it's been a process. We both started as dishwashers, and worked our way up. It's the long nights, the long weekends. It's giving up your Fridays. It's the long haul, but it's also a lot of fun and very enjoyable to provide good food and good service to people. And it's a very rewarding feeling when you can work so hard but see it all come together so well.
We always dreamed about doing this anyway, so the fact that it just kind of fell like this was a blessing. So
second kitchen that we've helped put together here. We worked together previously in a different restaurant, so this is our second time working together, and it was a very good opportunity, obviously, and something we were very happy to be able to jump on and do. Well, very exciting, and looking forward to many years of it.
Mike suggested meeting up at Toby's Supper Club, which is south of the Bell Line, just off Highway 51, on the southeastern boundary of Madison.
I think I've been to Toby's roughly 40 times, 40 times. I come for lunch a lot just because the crowd is smaller, the access is a little easier. They actually do the bluegill for lunch on Friday, and the bluegill is by far my favorite thing they have here. Oh my God, you smell that? As soon as I came out, I was like, oh. Everyone's getting bluegill.
When we first started the fish fry idea, it was 1978, we did just the walleye and the perch, and just cod on Wednesday nights. Well, then we started doing cod on Fridays, and it's just been going ever since then.
So you got, these are the bluegill right here, and then you got a perch, and then this is the baby pipe Canadian walleye.
Bluegill has come back to the market. We have that when we can have it. I only buy wild caught fish, so it's not farm raised, and so when it's not available, I don't get it. I don't have it. Here's your bluegill.
one thing with all the prices at Toby's, you get a relish tray, which is almost unheard of in Madison. I don't know if there's another place in town that does a relish tray. And the hash browns, if you order them single, you get just a smaller portion with a single slice of cheese. And if more than one person gets them, you get like a family style. So that right there, that's the hash browns with cheese and onion. And you get dessert included, which is not mentioned on the menu. So usually at dinner time you get homemade cinnamon rolls, and at lunchtime you get a personal serving of ice cream.
How about a chocolate?
Everybody knew. This cinnamon roll will be more than enough for me.
We can have it later. I'm the only one who does this.
Our shrimp, we're famous for our shrimp. People say we have the best shrimp. People from all over the country that eat here, they say they've never eaten shrimp like our shrimp at Toby's. And there was a shortage of it because I buy wild Pacific cod shrimp, which is like the cream of the crop shrimp. And when we had a shortage, I wasn't going to take a substitute for it. And we were out of shrimp for like probably 2 months for the first time. And we've never been out of shrimp. The U10 is what we buy.
U10 shrimp are known as super colossal and are the largest size available. U10 means the number of shrimp is under 10 per pound. Most restaurants use large to jumbo shrimp for entrees and shrimp cocktails.
So farm-raised U10s you can buy from Ecuador, warmer waters. It's not the same. The colder water makes a firmer, sweeter shrimp.
Yeah, that shrimp was also pretty unprecedented. I'm not one to get shrimp, but I could be persuaded to do it again.
When we bought Toby's in '69, it was called Toby's. A brief history of what the building is all about. The kitchen that we use right now was originally a barber shop. Where you are standing right now was the door to the outside, and then that door was there. And this was prior to Prohibition. I've been the sole owner for 26 years. My parents bought it in 1969. And they got divorced in 1972, and I, being the oldest daughter, who had gone to school to be a nurse, so I didn't work at the restaurant the rest of my life, was called by the employees to come down and help my dad. He always told me, and the best piece of advice I ever got, he said that we do what we do here, we do it the best we can. We can raise the prices, but we never change our quality of food. He said people go out to eat every night of the week, and if they come to Toby's one night a week, we're thankful.
Our next fish fry was on a lake, and it was a perfect day for dining on the outdoor deck.
Well, my name is Mark Obois, and we're at Fitz's on the Lake in Okee, Wisconsin, which is a small town incorporated into Lodi, Wisconsin. We're on, it's called Lake Wisconsin, which is the Wisconsin River, and it's a dammed up part of the river. So at one time, this was all farmland out here. Fitz's started as a bait shop, and I would say in the 1940s, and then it got turned into a small cafeteria type restaurant with, I would say, maybe 6 bar stools. In front of that they had an outdoor deck, and I would say about 30 years ago they enclosed the outdoor deck, which is where the present bar is. You wouldn't design a restaurant like this because it doesn't make sense, because it's not very functional as if you would start from scratch. The vibe that you get here is it's not a place to have a romantic dinner unless you come on a weekday in the dead of winter. It's because there's a lot of people that come for our fish fry, and just the way it's designed and getting the food carriers to walk through these crowds of people is an art in itself without them spilling it. Our fish fry consists of haddock. We sell about 31,000 pounds of haddock a year. And we use a beer batter. It's a secret, but we go through so much of it that we have to have it on tap. And we have 4 tap beers, so there's a 1 in 4 chance that you could guess which beer it is.
Deep fried fish. Anything else to get started?
Looks good to me.
Enjoy. I'll
Thank
check back in
you.
a little bit for reorder.
Awesome. See, the smart move would have been to reorder right now. They're really busy. You want to get that re-up immediately.
We have an all-you-can-eat haddock, and that's very popular, even though the first plate is plenty for a lot of people.
I'm gonna need at least 3 more of those.
Our coleslaw is made fresh. What can happen with coleslaw is if you let it sit too long, the salt will draw the moisture out of the coleslaw. And so you don't want that, so we wait and we make it fresher. We don't use day-old coleslaw, you know. We wait until service time and keep making it fresh throughout the day. We have a very unique dressing for that.
This coleslaw is really excellent. Someone definitely took some time and tweaked that recipe. Wish I had a spoon. Get all that juice. You know what I could do? That's Milwaukee style, right?
And then one of the most important parts is our tartar sauce.
Oh yeah, look at that tartar sauce. That's crazy.
Our tartar sauce has a little bit more depth than many tartar sauces. Red onions, capers, scallions. So it's a secret recipe, and people like it. It gives it a uniqueness to our fish.
That's a whole different.
I started cooking at age 14, so I've been cooking for 40 years this year. If you want to do the math, you can know how old I am. Me and a business partner purchased Fitz's on the Lake 2 years ago from yesterday, and it was a good business opportunity, and we like the lake, and people have been fantastic, and they had a pretty good running business before we got here. So we just enhanced a few things and kept the tradition going, and we haven't touched how they prepared the fish fry or the batter or the baked haddock either. We have very good local support here at Fitz's on the Lake, and that helps us. And local, I mean from Lodi to Sauk, Poinet, within a half-hour radius, some Wanakee, some Madison. I think it's a perfect drive from Madison because it's a half-hour away, so it's just enough to where you feel like you've left an area.
Relatively speaking, Lodi probably has the greatest proportion of good fish fries. I don't think there's a bad one I've had in town. And of the 5 or 6 in the area, they're all 4 or 5 stars.
There's a number of people that can tell when it's independently owned. They can tell when they walk in, they can get a feel, and it's not a cookie cutter chain that dot our countryside. That gives me an edge too to compete with them, because they have other edges like buying power and marketing, but they can't control what I do in my 4 walls and how I treat people, and it's like my home, and that shows. You can't fake that. If you want to be successful, you better commit yourself. And then don't ride on your laurels, because I always tell my staff that we're only as good as our last meal. And I tell our customers when they compliment that, I'm only as good as my staff.
Located next to I-94 between Upper and Lower Namabin Lake, just west of Delafield, is Stolley's Hogg Alley. This busy Friday night, Mount owner Jeff Stoll hard at work in the kitchen, hand-breading walleye, perch, and bluegill fillets, as well as frying up some homemade potato pancakes.
The history here of Hogg Alley is it was Hogg Alley for 14 years before I bought it, and I bought it back in 2006, and my last name is Stoll, so everyone calls me Stolley, so I call it Stolley's Hogg Alley. When I first bought it, it was more traditional of a biker theme bar. That perception I kept a little bit, but I wanted to build on that to welcome all walks of life here. Fish fry that has way exceeded my expectations. On average, I would say we probably serve around 300 plates of fish. Cod, I probably go through about 100 to 125, 130 pounds of the cod just for the fried, and then the baked, I go through another 30, 40 pounds. And the bluegill cases are 10-pound cases, so there's 20 pounds of each of the bluegill and perch. And then we cut our own French fries every week, to the tune of like 300 pounds, 350 pounds of fries. We make our own potato pancakes, and we go through probably about 10 gallons of potato pancakes alone. We use the same batter for all of the perch, bluegill, and walleye, and cod. It's a lightly beer batter. We put it in a little bit of breading, and then we deep fry all of that. And We serve baked cod, 4 different flavors, a lemon pepper, parsley butter, Cajun, and Italian. Generous portions of bluegill, depends, sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, depending on the size. They're all fresh caught. The perch, everybody raves about our perch. Last week they were so big we were given 2. Sometimes it's up to 4. They're 2 to 4 ounces. Sometimes they come big. Our walleyes are huge. They're 8 to 10 ounce. Skin on all 3 of those.
We met up with Mike Seidel, who stopped by Stolley's for some bluegill on his way to Milwaukee for a Brewers game.
We got the bluegill, hiding under there some potato pancakes and their house-cut fries. And perfectly crispy outside and a flaky inside. And just the most subtle bluegill flavor you've ever had. See how it tastes with this rye bread. Well, that's Milwaukee. Rye bread and a coleslaw with zip. Almost like a little heart. We love you. And this is a differentiator for me. Yeah, coleslaw, you got real rye bread, you got a big portion of fish, homemade potato pancakes, home cut fries, a homemade tartar sauce, and a bonus of German potato salad and applesauce on the side. That's everything you could ask for at a fish fry, and it's reasonably priced. It's something you don't always see, at least in Madison, which is why we're willing to take the drive to Hogg Alley here every time we come to Milwaukee.
We do get some free advertising being in a great location right on the main drag here in 94, which you can hear the freeway. It never rests. This freeway is crazy. You know, but I think our best advertising is word of mouth. I've done everything from shopping carts to coupons to magazines to radio to TV ads, and nothing beats the word of mouth.
Thank you, sir. First thing dinner?
It's warm in my kitchen. I give them all credit because, you know, I mean, obviously as the owner, I've got a vested interest, but to have employees that want to come to work and they work together and there's a team, it's a unit in there. Everybody helps everybody. That's not my job. I never hear that. So that with the heat in that kitchen and the busyness, they know at the end of the day they're all going to do okay, and I'm going to do okay. And
finally, fish fry probably isn't the most healthy meal, and for the most part, fish fry fans turn a blind eye towards nutrition. However, Caleb Westfall has the right perspective towards the whole issue.
And generally speaking, I'm like a really healthy person, I'm a healthy eater, and then Friday fish fry once a week. That's moderation. It's only 1 out of 7 meals or evening meals. 1 out of 21 if you're having 3 meals a day. So I think you can handle that. You know, an old fashioned to go with it, with brandy, of course, and yeah, seems healthy enough, I think.
Keep coming up with stuff, I'll come up with more. Just keep talking. If you had anything else.
Talk about cheap chicken.
So in Madison, this is kind of the standard, typical dinner roll. We don't see a lot of rye bread like you find in Milwaukee.
It's trendy, like young kids drink old fashioned.
It's the supper club trend.
They don't even know what they are. They just say, give us 5, 6 of those old fashions.
I'd say 2 thumbs up for 2 types of fish, 2 types of coleslaw. Got your pierogies.
and have this guy put the camera down and put it to work.
Okay, go ahead.
Monster fry.
Oh, we've been talking about Cheap Trick so much I lost my voice.
You want a fish fry?